Hey, football fans, this is Mel Kiper Jr. On the latest First Draft podcast, Todd McShay and I identify a crisis which must be dealt with in the world of football. Find out what it is when you subscribe to the show in the Listen tab of the ESPN app.
Happy Greg Cody Tuesday. It's very popular. It's one of the biggest upsets in the history of sports that Greg Cody being here on Tuesdays makes everyone uncommonly happy, not just here, but in our listening audience. I still can't believe it. Yeah, I'm stunned.
I know you are, but what a great ability to make people happy. I mean, that is really a rare and great quality. Not many people have it, and Greg Cody does.
Well, why? Why? Someone explain this to me. Mike, you got a theory? Why do young people love Greg Cody so much? Why do people who listen to this radio show love Greg Cody, find him uproariously funny? Articulate it to me, Mike. Explain it to me as someone who knows what this show is supposed to be about.
Well, as much as Greg likes to think that people are laughing with him and his jokes, I think there's a lot of mocking. And honestly, it's a little bit sad that we're encouraging this sort of behavior because they're laughing at him. And
I reject that.
I don't think so, Mike. I mean, laughing at him, laughing with him, it doesn't matter, right? As long as they're laughing.
Yeah, that's
right?
the attitude Sue got.
Yeah.
Guillermo doesn't agree, though.
I love Greg. I think he's funny. People hate you, Dan. I don't know if you know this, and Greg irritates you, so people like seeing you suffer.
There's a lot to that, actually.
Yeah, there's something to that. Yeah.
That is a quality of mine, making you suffer.
And I enjoy it, though.
Yeah, it's a fine, honed skill of mine that's been developed over the years.
Cultivated over the decades, really.
Really, that's true, yeah.
He's also immensely likable.
Am I? I don't consider myself to be likable.
Oh, you're very likable.
Super non-offensive, just...
I don't know if my editors would agree with that.
Would Erlene say that you're likable? I'm not even joking here. Would your wife describe you as likable? I know that she loves you, and I know that she likes you, but would she describe you as universally likable?
I don't know about that. That would be a great awkward pause by her before answering, no matter what the answer was.
Can we get her on the line? Call Erlene. I want to talk to. I want to get her on the phone real quick. I just want to ask her a couple of quick questions.
Oh God!
About Greg Cody. Thank you. The Miami Heat are going to really struggle.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they're going to struggle. I mean, that's as well as you can do against Westbrook, and you get your skull caved in.
Yeah, you didn't have a big game. And you're right, they're going to struggle. They're going to struggle in general, let's be honest, right? Like, they're going to struggle on the road. They're going to struggle at home. It's going to be a struggle for this team.
Okay, remember you said that, please. Because you flip-flopped already. So you're saying it's going to be a struggle this season? They're not in the conversation?
Well, Mike, what's the best-case scenario for the Heat? We've discussed this, right? 6, 7, or 8 seed?
Yes. I'm saying we're several years removed from being able to confidently go into Oklahoma City and feel like you can get closer than 12 points on the road.
Well, they got lucky to make it even 12.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That game was lost in the first 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you were to genetically engineer someone to get under Hassan Whiteside's skin and take him completely out of the game, it would come out as Steve Adams, right? And it worked.
Well, Adams was scared of him. Cantor abused everybody, but Adams didn't want to be doing anything offensive against Hassan Whiteside. Anything.
Yeah, but it also took Hassan out of the game. It got him in the early frustration foul, and it took him out of the defense, and they ate inside that first quarter. I think they had something like 22, 24 pain points in that first quarter because Hassan just had no interest after picking up that first early foul. It was an incredibly frustrating game, and that's the first time this season you're like, man, why'd we give this guy that contract again?
And if you're playing the Miami Heat, your coaching strategy is to have your backup center be the guy who's going to get under Hassan's skin and get him to 3 fouls as quick as you can. We've already seen it in a few games this year.
Who frustrated you most last night? Was it Hassan? Was it Dion Waiters? People are getting real agitated with Winslow.
That's the guy.
Winslow.
I mean, 2 of 13 last night.
Yeah, because we were all talking about Winslow taking a step forward. And it's been early, and he's young, but he's regressed. The shot's worse. He's not even close on his shot. Not even close.
I mean, he's going to get latitude, obviously, because of where he was drafted, because he's a pretty solid defensive player. But, yeah, his shot is not there. And Richardson has to start playing more now that he's healthy. I'm surprised.
Oh, but wait a minute. You can't just fall out of the sky and start playing NBA games and start hitting jumpers.
No.
He needs a minute.
He'll start eventually, right?
Yes. Yeah, well, you got to get that Babbitt guy out of there. He needs to not play a minute. Like, he needs to not be playing 1 second of Miami Heat basketball. Joined now by Erling Cody.
Oh, God.
Yes. That's the kind of reception that you want from your husband. Erling, the question being posed here, thank you for making time for us, is your husband viewed as likable?
By those who don't really know him very well, yes.
Wow. What a great answer.
Perfect answer.
Wow, Cody just slumped in his chair. That is not the support he expected from his wife and loving bride of many years.
Well, I can't deny it, but
you get over it, though. You kind of realize he becomes sort of charming in a really annoying kind of way to most people that know him.
Okay, very good. That's an excellent answer. Thank you, Arlene. You contributed mightily. Thank you.
Perfect.
All right.
Yes. Charming in an annoying sort of way.
I grow on people. I'm like a fungus.
She articulated it.
It was perfect.
Damn well.
Yes. Yeah. Those are man very well.
Yeah, as she does.
Yeah, I would say, in fact, that Mike's entire coloring, when I asked him, because Mike's very good at describing why people like the show, and I feel like Mike was super off there in describing the reasons that you're popular to the show, and all of his viewpoints are contaminated because he knows you by how frustrating you perpetually are with your behind-the-scenes incompetence. That his opinion was absolutely contaminated by how frustrated he gets by all of your idiosyncrasy.
Mm-hmm. I think Mike imagines I'm going to do something that's really going to get somebody in trouble, and I don't. I'm a...
Oh, but you can. I mean, we've dumped you 3 or 4 times for cursing, and none of us have been dumped that often for cursing on the air.
Well, that may be true.
And all my in-break coaching and pre-show coaching doesn't get any sort of credit for you not stepping in it.
Well, this guy, he's already preached to me about this is election day, and I know you feel strongly about somebody. Don't say anything. And
is he wrong? Was he wrong? I was sitting right here when he had that discussion.
I don't think I would have volunteered politics. If somebody else brings it up and I'm asked my opinion, I'm not going to be shy about it. But I understand that people get nervous about that.
But I understand Mike in general, okay? Mike's frustration with all of us. We are all frustrating for different reasons. But I get back from this wedding, and one of the first things Mike says to me is that he told Stugotz 3 times, don't say on the air that Dan is at Pablo's wedding. How soon did it take you before you just ignored him saying it to you 3 times?
Maybe 30 minutes. 30 minutes or so. Yeah.
Why was that a secret, though? Why couldn't he say that?
Whatever Mike's reasons. If Mike tells you 3 times...
I mean, Greg, in Mike's defense, there was a reason for him. He had a good reason for him telling me that, and I blew it. And I understood why he was mad at me.
Really?
I get it, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Stugotz in this whole quest to be 1% less worse has started a new trend of just completely ignoring things that I repeat to him several times during the break. I'm not sure I'm happy with this new trend.
Why is that happening? Do you have a theory on what's happening there?
I've got no idea. It's perplexing.
Is his ADD getting worse?
Oh, my ADD is definitely getting worse, but I am so focused on not butchering the sports centers and not butchering reads that perhaps I'm not even hearing what Mike is saying because I'm just sitting there reading those things before we go on air.
You continue to butcher them.
Not as much, not with as much frequency. I don't feel like I could be wrong. I mean, I probably am.
I feel like you're not reading them thoroughly because occasionally something's going to slip through the cracks, and maybe I'll make a typo on a sports center. But if it has like a confusing name, like it did yesterday with Remy Malik, you're only concentrating on that name that you don't read the rest of the sentence. And
I'm nervous. I want to please Dan so badly that I got to be honest. I do.
But what I'm saying is just read the entire thing, not just like halfway through. Like, okay, just the name.
I'm looking for landmines. There is what I'm doing, though. I mean,
but you're taking the easy way out. It's easy.
But
read it.
The thing that continues to get lost is when I want you to be 1% less worse, I just want you to try.
Well, I am trying.
Like, it's not terrible. It's good when you misread all these things.
Right.
It's not a bad thing. It's funny. When I get frustrated is you misread all these things because you simply have no idea what's going on around here because you're checking your fantasy league, because you're going outside making bets, because you're sitting there dealing with contractors. You know, you're trying to insurance adjust something. You're building another appendage to your house.
Don't forget the bat mitzvah.
Yeah, well, that's the big one right now.
But I'm saying you're just simply not concentrating on what we do here that makes your life really good.
That's completely fair. It's a great analysis of the situation. You did say yesterday that you felt like I was trying a little bit harder. Once I get past this bat mitzvah, we got a meeting with the caterer today. I mean, this is big, and this really determines, all the guests that are coming to this thing. If you get good food or not. It's up to me, because if left to my wife, the food's not going to be very good. And the one thing I've told her is, if we're going to spend a lot of money on something, it has to be the food. It just has to be the food. It's very important. The cocktail hour is the most important part of the party. And there needs to be pigs in a blanket, and there needs to be mozzarella sticks, and there needs to be cheese sticks. And that's the deal. So I'm focused on that today, but I promise, once I get past the caterer, I'll be back to just focusing on the show.
Hold on, it's
got to be pigs in a blanket.
So many things you just said that
with
are wrong
spicy
there.
mustard.
I mean, concentrate on the thing that's paying for this party.
Well, you said I was doing a better job yesterday, I think, right?
You just said once I get past the bat mitzvah,
yeah.
I'll concentrate on the show again.
Which is also months from now. I love how he took a swipe at his wife saying the food wouldn't be good. He's made himself sound like a sommelier.
Right,
and then it's just cheese sticks.
Cheese sticks and mozzarella sticks, which I'm pretty sure are the same thing. I mean, we got to have cheese sticks
and mozzarella sticks.
Cheese steaks.
No, not cheese sticks.
Yeah,
yes.
So basically, he wants like the Chili's happy hour.
I just want it to be good. I want a nice sculpture with tequila coming down. I mean, I want certain things.
Yeah, it's got to be better than good. It's got to be perfect.
Right, the content, right?
I mean, I know I've never hosted a bat mitzvah, but it's a competition now. You have to out bat mitzvah the neighbor.
I don't even care about out bat mitzvahing the neighbor. I just care about the cocktail hour, because a bad cocktail hour sets a bad tone for the remainder of the evening.
Yeah, you got to go premium brand.
It's a tone setter.
Help me with something
Top
here,
shelf.
please. Bat mitzvah, bar mitzvah, pigs in a blanket, pork. Am I missing something here? Like, I don't... No?
No, we don't care.
Okay, very good.
I mean, some Jews might care.
Yeah.
This Jew does not.
But might some of your attendees care?
I don't care.
They don't have to eat it.
Yeah.
That's good. So it's really not the food doesn't need to be good for everyone, and the cocktail hour doesn't need to be good for everybody. It just needs to be good for you.
Yeah, and for most of the guests. If it doesn't work for all the guests, too bad.
Okay, but you think pigs in a blanket? Put that up on the poll, please, Guillermo. Do you think that people at a bat mitzvah or bar mitzvah want pigs in a blanket?
Oh, that's a clear answer.
Well, I know they do. Yeah.
You know they do.
Yes, everyone does. Who doesn't want pigs in a blanket?
All right. Although sometimes I skip the pig and just eat the blanket, to be honest with you.
Hold on.
At Batard Show. Would you be surprised to arrive at a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah and see pigs in a blanket? Yes or no?
You would be surprised to show up to a bar or bat mitzvah and not see pigs in a blanket, to be honest with you. You would be. Like if I go
This is the time you've chosen to be honest with me?
Yeah, if I go to a bar or bat mitzvah and there aren't pigs in a blanket during the cocktail hour, big trouble. And I'll complain. Like I've complained before. And I'll do it again. And here's the other thing I really need to figure out, and I'm going to do this today. And I'm doing this for, hopefully you'll come, but I'm doing this for the sports fans who are attending the bat mitzvah, is we're having it. We had to change the date. It was supposed to be between the championship game and the Super Bowl, and we had to move it up to January 7th, which is, I believe, the first Saturday night. It's wild card weekend, first Saturday of the NFL playoffs. And I'm trying to arrange an area where there are TVs, couches, recliners, like a man cave, so the guys, if they want, can watch the wild card game on Saturday night, because nothing bothers me more than going to a party when there's a big sporting event and there's no place to watch
That's a good move by you.
Thank you.
Very nice move.
Thank you.
You did that for the guys, right?
Yes.
Did that for us. Doesn't Fats and Info have an inconveniently dated wedding?
The following week.
Yeah.
Following week, yeah.
So what sporting event is that during?
That's the next round of the playoffs, yeah.
That's a bigger game.
Divisional round.
Are you getting couches?
Yeah. What are you doing?
I'll work on it.
Ooh, Fats and Info.
Yeah.
Fats and Info.
I'll work on it.
Tough.
That by I'll work on it means I'll ask my wife. She'll say no, and then that's I'll have worked on it.
Yes.
That's okay. What about that? That's a good poll question to the audience too, because men would want that there, but the bride doesn't want that there, does she?
Oh, no. I mean, listen, it's just for a bat mitzvah my wife is fighting. It's my kid's bat mitzvah. They're cool with it. Both my children said, Daddy, if you need to do it, do it. We understand. My wife, not cool. I can't imagine the bride is going to be okay with that.
All right, hold on a second. Hold on.
Yo, chicken time.
That conversation never happened. Never happened. Hey, Rachel, come on. Let me sit down. No, you should do this, Daddy. No, absolutely. We would get out of here. Get out of here. Conversation never happened. Shameless.
Hey, football fans, this is Mel Kiper Jr. On the latest First Draft podcast, Todd McShay and I identify a crisis which must be dealt with in the world of football. Find out what it is when you subscribe to the show in the Listen tab of the ESPN app.
Don Batard.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reach out to the Miami Heat. I'm going to set up a 3-point contest against Justice Winslow for Stugotz and a free throw contest against Hassan Whiteside for Greg.
Whoa. I imagine you do it underhanded, right?
No.
No?
Granny style.
No. I'm silky, man.
Stugotz.
If 5 NBA guys, if their only job was to keep us from scoring, I don't think we would score in an NBA game.
Oh, I think we'd luck into a basket, and we'd certainly get it past half court. No question.
I think you vastly underestimate what you're watching.
You haven't seen my handle.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
Texter writes in, I'm Allison's type. Let us know, please, when she's single. Thanks. Allison's type means broken dad. Broken dad with a raspy voice. Somebody pointed out if she likes raspy voice and kind of Italian-y, Stugotz is someone that might be in her wheelhouse. So there might be a love-hate thing happening there that needs to be addressed at some point.
Too short, apparently. You need to be a broken tall dad.
What's too short? Cody and Stugotz were having a funny conversation during the break. They agreed after Early and Cody came on and killed it. Would you rather be, put this on the poll, Guillermo, would you rather be liked by everyone who doesn't know you, but kind of disliked by the people who do, or vice versa? And Stugotz and Cody agreed that they'd rather have it the way they have it now, which is they're liked by most who don't know them, and that I would prefer vice versa. And I would. There aren't people who don't like me. There are just people who don't know me.
Really?
Oh, wow.
God.
Really? Really? Wow. I mean, whoa.
Wow. So to know you is to love you.
Wow.
Terrible. That's true. I agree with that.
Wow.
That's what?
It's amazing.
What is that?
Thank you, Roy. Thank you, Roy.
Man.
What is that?
Good Lord.
I mean, what is that?
I've got a small circle of people who know me really well, and those people really love me. That's it. It sounded worse than it was.
Yeah, it really
It sounded
did.
awful.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes, I would agree. The people that know you and have stuck around long enough to be your friends really like you. Yes, absolutely. Those are what you call friends.
there's no one who knows me who would answer the question that we just asked Greg Cody's wife that way. No one. There is no one who knows me who would answer that question that way.
Yeah, but people who know you, and what I'm about to say of you applies to me. People who know you the best, they know you warts and all. They've seen your ugly side.
Correct.
They've seen the side that you don't show publicly.
But what they've also seen. See here, what they've also seen is who I am at my best and most generous. For example, a lot of people were saying that I mistreated Allison over the weekend because she had to run around and handle the details for this tuxedo calamity that I had. But Allison would never answer that question that way. Allison would never say, first of all, I know Allison well enough to know how much she loves doing that stuff. Beyond that, Allison is compensated for assisting me on stuff.
Yeah, you're right. Allison absolutely loves spending her weekends tracking down tuxedo shirts for you.
It's fun.
It's She canceled her plans. She was like, "This is way too much."
Ask her.
This is fascinating. Well, you think she's going to tell the truth?
Yes, I want her to tell the truth.
You think she enjoyed
her weekend tracking down a tuxedo shirt? For
Allison, man, I feel like I know Allison better than you guys do.
It was a career high, and it was one phone call. It was one phone call. It was like 10 minutes, and
I feel like I know Allison better than you guys do. I feel like that's what just happened there. Allison delighted in doing that.
This is some weird ass backwards rationalization.
It really is.
This is
no, Mike,
awful.
Mike, I didn't ask.
It was a career high.
It was the high.
You made him happy.
Yes.
The act of making him happy is cool, but that's not fun.
It's not only that, though. Here's the thing, though. Allison, for a long time, has been on my payroll to handle stuff like this. Like, I'm not asking her for favors. I didn't ask anybody else here to do this.
Right, that's her job, technically.
I thought her job was...
And she did her job well, and she was happy to do her job well, and she's good at her job.
Well, Allison, do you feel like that's part of your job? I thought your job was to help produce the show and book guests for the show. Do you feel...
I have another job.
Okay.
Jack of all trades.
All right. Okay. All right.
Yeah, heaven forbid that a man would arrange for his own tuxedo.
Well, hold on a second, though. Again, getting back to the original point that I feel like you guys are wrong on. What just happened there with Allison, that's what happens with the people who know me best. Where it's looked at from the outside, and all of you are moaning and groaning and saying how awful it is. And I know this person, and she knows me. And she knows me warts and all, which is making all the mistakes that I made with the details. And Mike, she ain't lying. She is not lying.
I mean, I feel like I know you pretty well, and this is missing the mark for me.
What is missing? What?
Oh, man, okay.
Just say it, Mike.
Go ahead and say it.
So. Just say what you want to say, man.
So. Well, look, man, like you can absolutely love and respect someone and see the generous side and not come away with that universal broad brush painting that Dan just put out there. Like the people that at that point, it sounds like you're just surrounding yourself with people that just are going to love you. And sometimes you need people that keeps it real.
Oh, I don't have any of those.
You do in here, I'll tell you that.
I mean, because it wasn't like you guys just reacted violently to something that I said, all of you moaning in a way that would not happen on any other radio show in America. Can you imagine what just happened in here with you guys moaning, mocking, and calling Allison a liar happening on any other radio show in America?
Yes, every other radio show in America. Every morning zoo. That's how it goes. Are you kidding?
With Francesa?
That's not every Francesa is the exception to the rule.
No, you are absolutely wrong. Francesa is the exception to the rule? Are you kidding me?
Not every radio.
Man, Stugatz worked for Hank Goldberg. Ask Stugatz to tell you some of the stories.
Okay, but you're picking outliers.
That's the rule, Mike. You're sadly mistaken because you've only worked in one environment. You don't know what the rule is. You are unbelievably spoiled at working for someone like me. You have no idea. None. Ask Stugatz what it's like to work for anyone.
Well, I mean, I work for Hank, so Mike, in his defense, he does have a point there. Like, Hank was way worse on me, way harder on me, asked a lot more of me.
And Allison, too.
And Allison worked for Hank as well.
You guys around here have no idea how easy you've got it. None.
I mean, you're right.
Allison does. Allison knows how easy she's got it.
Yeah, this is taking a turn.
I mean, it's absolutely so.
Me. It's me.
No, it's
I shall sneak away.
Mike, you have no idea. None. I ain't wrong.
You will go pick up my tuxedo and you will enjoy it.
No, I didn't ask Mike to pick up my tuxedo. It turned into radio content.
It really did. That was a bad tuxedo, by the way.
The one I was wearing?
Yeah, it really was.
Did you see the one I was going to wear?
No.
It was worse.
I saw the one that looked like you were a character from Hamilton. Looked like an 18th century.
Well, that's the one I was going to wear. That's the one I was going to wear.
Allison got him a new one.
Oh, thank God. Yeah. Good for Allison.
Mm-hmm.
Allison, what happened?
This is alarming, all of it. I mean, you were legitimately, you guys have all been to a formal affair. If you're wearing something the buttons are falling off,
right?
And I mean, how uncomfortable is that? That's brutal.
It is brutal, right? But it's also, it's Dan's fault. I guess what I'm asking is, like, would Hank, do you think, Hank, because you and I both work for Hank, would Hank have called you from a bar mitzvah, a wedding, saying, Allison, I'm bursting out of my suit, get me a new one?
That is something he might do. Would I have gotten it for him? I mean, you and I both worked for him.
Okay, so that's a testament to Dan. She probably wouldn't have gotten it for Hank.
I don't know. I didn't say no. I was.
Well, no. Do you feel like Hank would have gotten it for himself?
But again, though, like I mean, it's not a small thing. Like this is part of.
It's part of my job.
Allison's negotiated job title. Like,
No, that's a big part of it. Absolutely. That's jack of all trades, like neurotic ninja. She's a fixer.
It was just part of her job is I'm going to need help with stuff.
Right. I wasn't aware of that, so I didn't sit in on the negotiations, and so I wasn't aware of that. That changes it a little bit for me.
And furthermore, and this is saying too much, but whatever, the starting point was, and this was the negotiation, Allison, how much you need to earn. And that's where we got her. Like, not a small thing, man. And that's
not a small thing.
But that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. The people, and it's not buying loyalties. It's the people who know me know that stuff. Why would anyone else know that under any circumstances? I'm uncomfortable even saying it now, but there are 1,000 things like that I could say to you. 1,000 things like that from the people who know me that never come out here. Just the strident, obnoxious jackass comes out here because it's good for ratings. What happened? What just happened to the room? Explain, Cody. I want to see it through your viewpoint.
It took a weird turn.
Well, but no, wait a minute.
I mean, you're saying you're universally liked. That if someone doesn't,
no.
What you're saying is if someone doesn't like you, it's on them.
That
it's
was
not
the
on
objection.
you. They just don't know you.
That was the objection.
I mean, that's where it all went off the
rails.
rails.
It turned into a thing where how I have it so easy.
I think.
You do have Mike.
Well,
Mike. Christ almighty, the fact that you don't know that you have it easy is fairly amazing.
No, I'm glad that but you're comparing it to like Francesa and Hank Goldberg, and I feel like those are the outliers.
Mike, and I'm feeling like you have no reference points.
Okay. Well, that's fair. This is the only show that I've worked for.
Correct.
Been in the industry for a long time, though.
Yes, but this is the only show you've worked for.
But are you saying you're the only host in America that makes it easy on their
this
producers?
is what I'm saying. What just happened there, and I'm happy that it happens here. It's part of the dynamic that people love, but where the host says something objectionable and everyone in the room is comfortable enough to ridicule and mock the host is not something that would ever happen on Dan Patrick's show. It would never happen. Like, just never.
That's fair.
Really? It wouldn't happen on Dan Patrick's show?
No, it would not happen on Dan. It wouldn't happen on any of these shows. It wouldn't happen to Golick. It wouldn't happen to Greenberg. It wouldn't happen to anybody. And I'm delighted that it's so. I'm delighted that that's part of our environment. Like, that's part of what people find contagious about this is how jocular it is and how different it is. And that's one of the reasons that it's different. But name the show that it would happen on. Rome? You think it's happening? Who's it happening to?
But I feel like you're taking like the biggest, the biggest outliers.
The biggest shows.
Are you just putting us on there?
I'm taking the biggest
because I'm like,
shows.
Like, I don't think it happens with Zaz. Like, that's what I'm going into. You're like painting a broad brush with like all of radio.
I'm talking about the biggest shows in America.
Because you said like pick a radio show in America. I'm like, man, Francesa is an outlier if you're doing that. Because if I'm going to like some morning zoo in like Albuquerque, New Mexico, I'm pretty sure like they're giving it to the host.
Okay, go ahead and take the salary that comes with the morning zoo in Albuquerque. Like, no, I'm talking about the biggest shows. I'm talking about the hosts that you know and the hosts that you like.
Well, I mean, I think there might be a point there to, excuse me, to some of the morning zoo type shows. Yeah, I owe some money there. Like, I think Boomer and Carton, I think that's a pretty big show, WFAN in New York. I feel like the producers probably give it to them the way we give it to you. I feel like, maybe. I could be wrong. That's one other show.
No. Doesn't happen. No.
I'll default to Allison on this because Allison.
And I worked
Allison's
with Craig
worked with
too.
A ton of,
no.
Yeah, Craig's not
I
easy.
messed up Hank's lunch, and I mean, he didn't talk to me for weeks.
You wanted that tongue sandwich.
You guys are saying that you don't like the turn that this took. I'm marveling the way I marveled. This is what I marveled at. I'm marveling the way that I marveled that day that LaShawn McCoy was downstairs here, and we wanted to get him as a guest on the show, and Stugatz was chasing him down the street, and everyone here was looking at Stugatz through the window, laughing at Stugatz chasing him down the street when they should have been the ones chasing him down the street. I'm fairly amazed at what our environment is. Not that it exists this way, but that you guys don't understand how rare it is because you haven't known any other environments. That you don't know how incredibly unusual it is for us to have this environment where we just goof around all the time, cracking on everybody. Because you haven't known any other environments. It's just I'm legitimately startled by it. Should I not be?
No, you should be. I mean,
this has been terrible. This is terrible for me. Because I feel like I just dipped my toe in the pushing back, and now all of a sudden a world fell on top of me. So it was like a really weird way to prove that point.
You feel really alone
about how easy I have it, and now I feel like I'm on an island.
Does Mike Ryan have it hard? At Batard Show. What are you laughing about?
This whole conversation has been bizarre to me because, listen, the whole frame of reference, most of us don't have personal assistants. I mean, most of us, and you're on a different level there, but most of us can't relate to having someone go get our tux for us. Most of us would do that ourselves. So from that standpoint alone, it's just strange to me and maybe to some listeners to have a conversation about, I don't have time to go get my own tux.
Oh, it's the height of entitlement. I'm not disputing that. How could I possibly dispute that?
Okay.
It's the height of slovenly laziness.
Right, pretty much.
I've earned it.
Hey, college football fans, I'm Matt Schick. Even though it seems like there aren't too many possibilities for teams to wind up in the playoff, we realize that there are plenty of permutations as we play the What If game on the latest Championship Drive podcast.
Don Batard.
Here is what Gilbert Arenas did on Twitter. This is unwise for a number of reasons. I would like to inform all the big ballers out there, I'm the reason big strip clubs fingerprint now. I'll order $80,000 worth of ones, throw about $40,000 of it to the strippers, sneak the rest out of the club. Have one of my teammates sign that bill, wake up the next day, call American Express. My card was stolen at the strip club last night, and these charges ain't mine. And with a no questions asked policy, once they see it's not your signature, they refund all your money back, LMAO. So I got the $80,000 I spent back, plus the $40,000 I took out of the club.
It's a heady play.
Stugats.
Now he's told everyone, and they will start an investigation. And if this is true, there's going to be jail time.
That's not heady.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugats on the ticket.
Texter writes in, nice heat talk, fathead. This is going to end up being a hard heat season to talk about as we get into it because Oklahoma City's not that good, even though they're 6-1, and they didn't get the good Westbrook game, and you just had a disaster from Dion Waiters. So Winslow's the one that's making people angrier than Dion Waiters, though, huh?
Mm-hmm. I think so, yeah. Like the Heat fans felt lucky that Winslow fell to them in the draft and had a nice rookie season, and then Wade leaves, and you're expecting someone to step up, especially offensively, and he hasn't done.
Well, this is one of the things, though, that I always run into around here that is the conundrum in discussing any of this stuff, right? You guys take the previous result, whatever it is, and then we talk about it, and I'm the urinator when I point out, wins at home against the bottom of the division, squeaking by for the Dolphins. It's nice that you win, but it doesn't really mean very much in terms of how good your team actually is, and you turn that into me being the negative urinator when that's where you're going to end up next week if they lose to San Diego. You're going to do the same thing, and last week when it came to Winslow, I said that's not a centerpiece of a team, and it's not going to be. And everyone got really mad. Like, really mad. And then that game happens, and you're super frustrated at Winslow. And all I'm taking is the larger view of no slight on Winslow. He's young, he will grow, he will get better. But he doesn't look like a team centerpiece to me where he can be your best player 5 years from now, and your team's going to be any good.
Right. No, I think that's fair. I mean, even years before Kawhi Leonard became the centerpiece for the Spurs, Pop said eventually he'd be the centerpiece, and just watching him, you felt like, yeah, that guy could be a centerpiece to an NBA team. You haven't had that feeling with
But when I
Winslow.
say it about Winslow, then the counter comes at me, and it's, well, Wade couldn't shoot at the beginning either. And it's true. Wade couldn't shoot at Marquette. But come on,
but you could tell.
But what I'm yes.
Yeah.
But Winslow's not going to be Wade, is what I'm telling you. And you objected to that last week. Then he goes 2 for 13, and in the moment, all of a sudden, you're the most frustrated with him.
We're probably making a mistake by saying he's a bad offensive player because he does a lot of good things on offense. We can say he just can't shoot, but I feel like he's improved in his ball handling and his playmaking. He's a guy you can trust bringing the ball down the floor. He moves well without the ball. He can get to the basket if need be. He can improve a little bit there. He just needs to improve that shot, I think.
Well, not only that, though, Mike, they're leaving him open. Like it's affecting everyone else.
Yeah, I say that he can move well without the ball, but he doesn't really need to because they're daring him to shoot.
It's affecting everyone else's ability to get points on that team. The fact that you can, I mean, Amin told us that at various points, and Haslam seems like he was a better shooter, they would Haslam off of Haslam. That's what they were calling it around the league. Playing off of Haslam so that you would guard Shaq and guard Wade, you would cheat, and that's what everyone's doing to Winslow.
Yeah, I'd like them actually to put the ball in his hands, and when he's open like that, try to cut to the basket with the ball and make some plays because the shot, I just don't think we're ever going to be there. And it kind of stings when you see guys who are still on the board, too. We were all surprised that Winslow was on the board there, that everybody just got excited because he had a really good tournament. But Devin Booker had a shot that was already NBA ready. And you see every night he's putting up a new career high. And a guy like Miles Turner, who seems like he'll be an absolute superstar.
He's good, man.
He's great.
Yeah, Devin Booker, Miles Turner, those are pro games. Those are all-star scorers.
But I didn't see that in college. I didn't see that from Miles Turner. I don't think many people did from Miles Turner in college.
No. That project actually ended up working out. But Winslow is, like, those guys have taken the steps. Winslow has regressed a little bit.
The only fair criticism of what you said is the idea that it's just too soon to write him off or to put that kind of a ceiling on his career. He's 5 games into his second season. I mean, when you're that grounded defensively, when you have that foundation to your game, you can develop your shot. I mean, I don't know that he's ever going to be the centerpiece of the team, but I think he can be all-star quality.
But you need to, I feel like you need to readjust whatever it is that you're thinking about Winslow to think of him more in terms, you don't want him to be Tony Allen.
Right.
But closer to Tony Allen than Kawhi Leonard on whatever that spectrum is. And I think when people are going, Kawhi Leonard, we're talking about best player in the league stuff with Kawhi Leonard.
I think you want Winslow to be what? Like your third best player on the team? If Winslow's your third or fourth best player, then maybe you have a good team.
But I think that's all he's going to be, is what I'm telling you. I don't think that's a slight.
No, it's
you
not.
want him to be your second best player.
Well, I mean, Greg, he's shooting. Listen, we're 6 games in. He's 31% from the field and 15% from 3. I mean, that's atrocious.
It's an awful start. 6 games in.
It can get better. I don't know that it can get a lot better. And those of you who point out to me that Kawhi Leonard and Dwayne couldn't shoot early, they're kind of outliers. Usually, if you can't shoot, you don't become someone who is great at shooting. And what tells me that it's outliers when I say to you, give me all the guys that's happened with. Jason Kidd, it happened with, but you can name them because there are so few of them.
I mean, Kawhi Leonard's rookie year, Dan, he was 49% from the field and 38% from 3. Like,
yeah, but he couldn't shoot.
Winslow would kill to have.
He couldn't shoot in college.
Right.
Yeah. Winslow can turn into like a really good role player on a really good team. But this appears that it's not a really good team. It was a better team last year, and it seems as though like that's really more his pace, right? Justice, like be the defense guy, be the guy that can bring the ball down the floor, and we'll give it to Dwayne, and he can handle the scoring.
But what you see happening, did he lead the team in shots yesterday? What you see happening is defenses saying, go ahead, you take as many shots as you like, and he is taking them because they're giving them to him.
Yeah, last night he had 13 shots. Dragic had 12.
But I like that he keeps shooting. I mean, anybody who thinks of themselves as a good shooter or is trying to become one isn't afraid of shooting. If all of a sudden he's withdrawing offensively and hesitant to even shoot, that's a far worse sign than having a 2 for 13
But
night.
do you see what's happening there in terms of game plan, though? If Winslow's taking the most shots, it's because they're giving him the most shots. Winslow's not looking for 13 shots. He's taking 13 shots because they're leaving him to take the 13 shots because it's what they want by design.
They're begging him to shoot.
It's just not a good sign for you when Winslow's leading your team in shots and James Johnson is tied for second. Who actually, give him credit, he played well yesterday.
That's really bad, though. And they're just going to struggle. They are going to struggle on the road all the time.
Well, Winslow needs to figure out how to have a productive game even when the shots aren't falling. You know, when you're in the middle of a 2 for 13 game, that's the game when you want to have 9 rebounds and 6 assists. I mean, Wade always used to say that. Wade found other ways to be productive in the box score, even when the shots weren't dropping. Can you explain to me what's happening via text here? Because how do you want us to? I'm not writing off Winslow.
Right.
I don't. This is a perpetual frustration. Mm-hmm. The absolutism with which what we say gets received. This is observing a 20-year-old that all of us believe will get better. Who's writing him off? Look, what is happening here via text? You're frustrated with Winslow.
Well, I think Winslow is a guy that Heat fans at the age of 20 are very excited about, and we're sitting here saying never going to be great. He's not going to be Tony Allen. You hope that he's somewhere in between and I think Heat fans have bigger expectations.
But here's what I was saying last week that you objected to so much, okay? Right. Mm-hmm. Here is what I'm saying. If Winslow becomes Andre Iguodala,
right,
that is a really good thing.
It's a great thing.
But here's the thing about that. When Andre Iguodala was the best player on the team, that team was an 8 seed and would get swept from the playoffs. Yep. That's not good enough to be the centerpiece of a team. When Andre Iguodala is your 6th best player, all of a sudden you're a champion. And so what I was saying last week is this is not a signature piece. This is not a guy that will be at the center of everything, but he is absolutely someone who can help you. But if he's at the center of everything you're doing, you're going to lose.
As Heat fans, this is sort of on us. And you really can't blame us because to recalibrate that quickly from the height of the sport to just 4 years later to where we are now, this is a part, they're data mining right now. They're trying to figure out what they have in these guys. It's all about data mining and seeing what sort of assets that you can have, who's going to stay here past this year. And this is part of those growing pains.
Enough data on Babbitt.
Well, what's weird is plus minus with this team is bizarre because anybody watching that game last night with just their eyes would tell you Babbitt was probably their best starter. Worst plus minus on the team in terms of starting 5. Winslow had the best plus minus in that starting 5. So it's just a screwy stat.
Plus minus off of that game when you're losing by 20 feels kind of
useless. It really taints the data.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, they didn't lose by 20, but for all intents and purposes.
But it was frustrating watching Babbitt do the things that you were hoping Winslow. Like, I didn't know Babbitt could put the ball on the floor and hit a turnaround jumper over a defender. I just thought he just stayed out on the threes, and I was kind of hoping to see that from Winslow, and we're not there yet.
If you're a Heat fan dreaming that your team is better than the team struggling for the number 8 seed, so much of your hope revolves around Winslow. So much of your hope revolves around the core all being better and getting better. It relies on Dragic and Whiteside playing like all-stars. It relies on Richardson and Tyler Johnson and Winslow developing into something close to stardom. And nobody wants to hear anybody written off 5-6 games into their sophomore pro year.
Well, I'm not certain Dan's writing him off.
No, he isn't, but I think that's the way it's heard. I'm not writing him off.
Right.
I'm writing him off as the idea of him being Kawhi Leonard, which isn't a write-off. No. But that's a high standard.
You're saying he won't turn into the best player in the NBA?
But I'm saying that your team's not going to be good if he's your best player. Honestly, what I'm kind of surprised by here, and not just in terms of dominating this conversation, but I do believe that people are most frustrated by Winslow. And if you're watching last night, Whiteside's the guy to be frustrated with, not Winslow. He's the one you're paying. He is your centerpiece.
Yes.
You're paying him like a centerpiece to be a centerpiece, and he was invisible.
But that's his first bad game this season, right?
Oh, dude, you can't have those anymore. His comments after the game were infuriating. The defense takes away some guys. They're not going to fall in all the time. You're Max guy right now. Whiteside's absolutely skated this hour. He's the guy you should be yelling at.
It is unusual to me that your frustration would land on the 20-year-old and not on the guy who's 7 feet tall, shoots 60%, is a knucklehead, and you just gave all your money to.
Dude, he was loafing out there. Totally checked out. Spo pulled him. You could see it.
What's happening there? What do you imagine is happening there that the frustration is falling on Winslow? Is it the number of shots?
Is it that Winslow's missing 11 of the 13 shots that he's taking that you see? So many guys in the league, if you leave them that open, they're making all of those shots.
I think it's the number of shots, the number of misses, and really, if you look at game log and Whiteside right now, that's Whiteside's first bad game. Winslow's had a couple of these games already.
The foul issue is always going to be with him, and it's always going to be a defensive strategy against him to get under his skin and to get him to 2 or 3 fouls in the first half.
But Greg, did you see his first foul? Like, what was he thinking? What was he doing? He just pulled Steven Adams to the ground. Mm-hmm. Like, that's such a knucklehead. Like, if you're trying to stay out of foul trouble, why are you just pulling Steven Adams to the ground? That's not like a verticality close call that it could have gone either way. That's just him being a knucklehead. Mm-hmm. And then he checks out. He turns the ball over, doesn't chase it down. He looks bad out there sometimes.
Cantor is such a skilled offensive player. He can't play defense at all, but he is so skilled for his size.
What an unlikable team Oklahoma City has. When Russell Westbrook's like your most likable player.
I love that team.
You do?
Yeah, but I love Westbrook, man. I just love watching the guy play.
He stepped on Bumpy's head.
Yeah.
Westbrook plays with such a hissing rage.
I know.
All the time.
It's fun to watch.
I mean, yeah, but I could also see how it would be annoying.
Right. Mm-hmm. If Winslow turned into like Gordon Hayward, would you be surprised? Like, who's the guy? Like, where's the?
Well, but
ceiling?
Hayward can shoot.
Hayward's really good. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of a guy. Like,
at this point, I'd be happy. Sabonis, dude, stroking out there. Sabonis kid.
That guy's good.
He was good at Gonzaga. You got anything, Cody? You've been looking at the clock for the last 4 minutes. You got anything?
Eisner.
The North Carolina Tar Heels head to Durham to face their fiercest rivals, the Duke Blue Devils. Touchdown! Coverage begins Thursday at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Presented by Dr. Pepper.